Hey, welcome back to my little YouTube channel. I have another prophetic word from the Lord based on a dream I had on April the 19th of this year. And I'll get into what I feel like he's saying, and then I have a couple of scriptures to go along with that. I'm just gonna adjust this a little. So in this dream, me and my sister Samantha were walking like in between houses, like the medians, in between, backyards and stuff. And we saw this couple we know leaned up against like a shed or something, and they were just kind of like not up to anything really. Like you just tell they were just like chilling. And the guy that we know was smoking weed. And we asked, we were like, oh my God, hey, and we go up to them and he asked us if we wanted to smoke weed, and we were like, no, we're good. But we, greeted them real fast and everything. And right as we got to them and said our hellos, my sister gets a warning on her phone, and it's a tornado warning, and we had to take cover immediately. And as soon as we look at the phone, we're like, okay, where do we go? We need to find somewhere. And we look up in the sky, and I mean, this tornado was larger than life. It was white, and it was huge. And we were starting to feel the wind. It just seemed like it came upon us really fast, and we could feel the wind from the tornado. And so we asked our friends, where, we don't have time to get to our house. Can we stay at your house? We need to find shelter. And they were like, yeah, come on. It was just around the corner. And then I got pulled back almost into like a semi-aerial view of the house. And their house was very weak. Like it was, the back of it had just like two stick legs holding it up. And I mean, the wind was whipping it around. And I was like, you can't even get in there. I was like, this is not gonna work. Like we need something more sound. And they were like, well, we have this like barn and the shed thing in the backyard, but I don't know, they weren't really too sure about it. But when they showed it to us, we were like, this is perfect. It was sound, it was, clean, it was just sturdy. It felt like it was going to be safe and we'd be able to withstand the storm. So, and she opens the shed, the wife of this couple, and there's like little toys, like toddler toys set up real neat. And we're like, okay, this is it. This is where we're staying. And me and my sister like hurry up real fast, and we set up 2 bathrooms. And they were real makeshift, like it was a fast hustle to get this done. And they didn't have a ton of privacy, like it was semi-private, which is kind of gross, I know, but it has a meaning, a very good meaning. So yeah, and then the dream ended. So I felt recently like the Lord really wanted me to share this because of the timing of what I believe he's saying is coming. And the focus of the dream is on the tornado. And the white tornado represents good things. It represents God, the glory of God, which is kind of hard to explain. It has an explanation, but it's like describing the word, what is something beautiful, it's glory, it's hard to totally pinpoint it, but the best way that I can think of it is like the manifestation of God's presence showing up in our lives. And so this is what is coming. And so many good things come with God's glory. There's miracles, healings, like instantaneous, like just amazing things, like debt cancellation, just like miraculous things will happen when God shows up. Justice will come. So let me go back a little bit, excuse me, and describe some of the details. So the couple, who I'm not going to mention their names, but their names mean justice. The man's name means justice, and the woman's name means like Christ follower. So I knew that it represented the church. So together it was justice in the church. And he was smoking weed, so he was very lethargic. He was very slow to action, really. And so I felt like God was saying, like, the state of the church right now is not doing what it should be doing with justice, with how we treat God's ministry. And so when I saw them or whatever, they were just kind of lethargic, and they weren't expecting to see this. My sister, whose name is Samantha, her name means told by God, which I think is incredible, because she's the one who got the update on her phone. It was like the warning alert on her phone. So God is telling us, based on her name and how that represents that this is a warning to us that, yes, his glory coming upon the church is going to be amazing, but it also comes with judgment, because God, he can't act outside of his nature. When you're in that presence of God, it's so heavy. That glory of God is incredibly weighty. Sin cannot stand. It will burn up. And a lot of us right now, we've been in like a cleansing process. Some people, have definitely caught on to that's what the season we're in and where God has wanted us to be. And me personally, God has been dealing with me about offenses that I've had. I mean, I've had to literally work through that. You can go back into my other videos if you want to learn more about that. But so many things like pride or lust, I mean, anything really that just doesn't belong with God, he is asking us to cleanse, repent, and turn our hearts to him again. And really focus on loving him. And as I feel like it, for me, after kind of the hard season that all of the church has been in, it was really difficult to sort of refocus. And it's a daily walk, right? So I had to refocus every day, and slowly, like turning a huge ship or something, like it slowly turns and inches in the right direction, which is supposed to be gazing at Jesus, in love with Jesus. Like, we don't forsake our first love, right? So following his heart, seeing what he has on his mind, let our hearts beat for what his beats for, all these somewhat corny sayings, but also just very true and very beautiful. And it's not about perfection. That's impossible. So no condemnation here, but it's about a heart posture of trying to get your heart set right before him. And so the church, as this dream was suggesting, is not in that place. The warning that came up, we had to take cover because we had to humble ourselves. We had to cleanse ourselves, which is why I looked at the status, like the state of the church, and its foundation was very weak. And so we went to something more humble, just a humble little barn, and it was very sound. It was very strong. It looked like it would withstand everything. And the toddler toys represents us needing to go back to basics, drink our milk, and try to mature. It's a place of growing in maturity in God, but going back to the basics. The fruit of the Spirit, I would always say, is the best example of remembering our basics: love, joy, peace, patience. Operating in these things is a daily walk and practice. And then the toilets representing cleansing, and there's not a lot of privacy. There were 2 bathrooms, which 2 can represent unity, which I highly believe that this is what this stands for, because in our posture towards turning to God, it's going to unify the church. In his glory, we're going to be unified, and we're going to be open and honest about the things we deal with, the struggles, and pray with each other to help us overcome the sins or the issues. And it's not that we're not without help from God. Like he will seriously eradicate offense in your heart if you start praying for the people who you're offended by. Like, it is so miraculous, just so true, that he's there for us while we're trying to get our lives in a different repentant sort of posture. So I asked God, I'm like, okay, like, what's kind of the specifics of this dream that, what do you want me to share specifically? And he asked me, he was like, what does a tornado do? And I was like, instantly I saw buildings just like being demolished. There was wood chips everywhere. And I was like, it destroys structures, it destroys buildings. And I knew what he was suggesting and what he's saying is that anything that we've built, our spiritual lives, the church itself, if we've built it on self-gratification, on self-glorification, like, God is not going to share glory with any of us. Like, he is the one who is to be glorified. And, we can't use ministry to make a name for ourselves or, neglect our quiet time with God, our time spent with him. We're neglecting our houses, or just basically what he was saying. And just pray about this for yourself and for your churches or whatever. Whatever is built that is not built with him or by him, he is going to destroy it. And that's what happens with the glory. It is going to amount to nothing. And he is going to rebuild the church. As he rebuilds it, it's going to be built hand in hand and partner with him. And it's going to be a perfected bride that's in unity and power. And we are going to be preparing others as a harvest is coming in on the heels of this glory. It's just going to be magnificent. But we have to get ready. And the warning means take cover now. Like, we don't have a lot of time to really deal with this. We need to really heed this warning and just be in daily conversation. Like, Lord, is there anything that I need purified in me? Is there anything you want me to pray for about our relationship or, my relationship with others? Because if we don't humble ourselves now, he will humble us when his glory shows up. And it's just going to be, it's not the way you want to be humbled. That's not, it's just not the way we want to go. So yeah, that is the word. And I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 10. It's a bit of a long passage, but not too bad. And then I'll go to John 15. So 1 Corinthians 10 is a warning from Israel's history. For I do not want you to be ignorant of the fact, brothers, that our forefathers were all under the cloud, and that they all passed through the sea. Under the cloud, meaning the glory. They were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. They all ate the same spiritual food and drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that accompanied them, and that rock was Christ. Nevertheless, God was not pleased with most of them. Their bodies were scattered over the desert. Now these things occurred as examples to us from setting our hearts on evil things as they did. Do not be idolaters, as some of them were, as it is written. The people who sat down to eat and drink got up to indulge in pagan revelry. We should not commit sexual immorality, as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 of them died. We should not test the Lord, as some of them did, and were killed by snakes. And do not grumble, as some of them did, and were killed by the destroying angel. These things happened to them as an example and were written down as warnings for us, on whom the fulfillment of the ages has come. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. No temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can stand up under it. So it's a heavy passage, but one that we have to, adhere to. We need to really listen. We need to waken up, because God is not joking. Like, we can't be playing with fire, 1 foot in the church, 1 foot, in the world. Like, there's nothing that's going to benefit. So, and then the other scripture is John 15, which I felt like he was saying, he gave me the word vine, and I knew that this was the passage. So I really feel like he's giving us instructions to remain in him, in the vine. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Remain in me, down to verse 4, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself, if it must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. So this is saying, like, if we build anything that is not in Christ, like idolatry, idolizing our callings, getting glorified by things, getting entangled with money issues, things like this. I mean, it amounts to nothing. And when God shows up, he destroys it. And this is it's merciful, it's for our benefit. Because I think at the end of the day, we would all rather have our souls, in a good place, in a right standing with God, than to play with that kind of fire. So that's the word. I know it's a little heavy, but it's a good reminder. Like, really, I mean, I'm super blessed by it, like, because I want to keep trying to stay in that place, really watch myself. I want to grow and increase in love, like, I want to love people who are harder for me to love. I want to see the power of God. I think we all really do. But we have to get back to basics and straighten up a little of our act, especially as this glory is coming. And I saw that house already shifting. And so as I'm giving you this word now, I know that we're beginning to feel the wind of the glory of God. I feel like if you're not, then maybe that repositioning is for you right now, because you should be, because he's moving. He's doing a lot. And if you need help with anything, email me and we'll pray. Like, I mean, definitely go to somebody you trust and like, have someone help you pray. This life is not good alone. Like, it's not possible, and it's not how we were meant to be. So with sin issues, with whatever, heart issues, I mean, just have a partner pray with you. And God's going to make a way out. He totally is. And so that's the encouragement. That glory coming is going to be miraculous. It's going to be amazing. But we have to be postured right in order to carry it. So that's the word, you guys. And it's exciting. The warning is now. So I mean, like, that's the take cover part, right? So it's upon us. But I just hope you're super blessed like I was with it. And yeah, until next time, God bless you guys.